Recordings. Hello everyone, this is Manoj here once again from Market Ideas of Profit. ये वीडियो मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में रखूंगा और आज हम अप्रैल 6 that's a Sunday. We're somewhere in the middle of Sunday and we've seen a huge disruption in the market in the last week. Last 2 weeks से market में बहुत disruption चल रहा है because 2 तारीख को ट्रम्प अनाउंस करने वाला था reciprocal tariffs और सबने सोचा था करेगा नहीं करेगा because it was a major move, but Trump is a disruptor और उसने 2 तारीख को ये अनाउंसमेंट किया कि वो रेसिप्रोकल टैरिफ सब पे लगाने वाला है और जैसे ही उसने अनाउंस किया मार्केट ने गिरना शुरू कर दिया और लास्ट वीक में हमने एक बेहतरीन फॉल देखी है और 2 वीक में मार्केट करीब 8%, यूएस मार्केट 8% गिर चुका है। ट्रेडिंग वहीं हुई है ज्यादा बिकॉज न्यूज वहीं की है। 8% यूएस मार्केट इंडेक्स पे फॉल होना बहुत बड़ी बात है। जो छोटे स्टॉक्स हैं, छोटे और बड़े स्टॉक्स, मेजर टेक स्टॉक्स, everything has fallen very, very sharply. 8% index can translate to 20-25% on stocks. So बहुत ही अच्छा एक sharp fall मिला है और उसका ripple effect पूरी दुनिया में दिख रहा है हमें। और कुछ हद तक हम कह सकते हैं कि इंडियन मार्केट्स में अभी तक हमें बहुत कुछ फॉल नहीं दिखा है, लेकिन लास्ट फ्राइडे we saw some sure signs of weakness और हम एनालिसिस करना चाहते हैं कि वो वीकनेस कितनी डीप है। तो इस वीडियो में मैं एक्चुअली करंट चार्ट पे जाके भी एनालिसिस कर सकता था, लेकिन मैं आपको एक पर्सपेक्टिव दूंगा क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है कि जो यूएस में हो रहा है वो सेम चीज इंडिया में शायद नहीं होगी बिकॉज यूएस स्पेसिफिक ये न्यूज है। इंडिया से जो एक्सपोर्ट होता है यूएस को वो अफेक्ट होगा, लेकिन इंडिया में इंटरनली क्या हो रहा है और इंडिया की ट्रेड यूएस से कितनी है। इंडिया में बी द बिगेस्ट पार्टनर, यूएस में बी द बिगेस्ट पार्टनर फॉर ट्रेडिंग इन इंडिया, बट इट अफेक्ट्स a few sectors. It doesn't affect all the sectors that the markets locally represent in India. तो मैं नहीं सोच रहा हूँ कि ये जो पर्टिकुलर न्यूज है ये यूएस से ज्यादा रिलेटेड है और हम यूएस को जो एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं वो ज्यादा हमें इफेक्ट करेगी। बट ऑन द अदर हैंड व्हाट इट विल डू इज इट विल ओपन अप अ लॉट ऑफ अदर मार्केट्स फॉर अस बिकॉज चाइना जैसे कह रहे हैं वो यूएस काफी माल भेजता था, अब चाइना का फोकस हमारी तरफ आएगा तो शायद हमें कुछ इंपोर्ट चाइना से ज्यादा दिखेंगे बिकॉज चाइना विल बी ऑफरिंग अस बेटर वैल्यू फॉर द गुड्स दैट वी आर आस्किंग फॉर। उन्हें हमें हमारे मार्केट पे कंसंट्रेट करना होगा, वो शायद पेनिट्रेट ज्यादा करेंगे हमारे मार्केट में, लोकल इंडस्ट्री का फर्क पड़ेगा, लेकिन ओवर अ लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम इट हेल्प्स, द competitiveness helps and better products will make markets demand better products and the local manufacturers will have to keep up with that, and over a period of time they will have to improve. But in the shorter run I think our imports might increase from China, which is not a very happy state for the local industry, but that's a fact that's going to eventually happen. And so, in a nutshell, US markets may not affect a very big portion of what our markets are doing. And because the perspective is on sectors, मैंने एक वीडियो बनाई थी March 16th को, जिसमें I was at an inflection point जहां पे मुझे लग रहा था मार्केट ऊपर जाएगा या नीचे जाएगा. To be frank, I was a little pessimistic on a few sectors and a little optimistic on a few sectors, and that reflected on my reading on the chart at that point of time. And it was a mixed bag. Some charts were telling me that they're up for a bounce, and some charts were telling me that they're up for a breakdown. But in hindsight, when I see what happened there, I can probably build some scenario just probably about 15-20 days, 3 weeks into what I did that analysis last time, and give you a perspective कि उस समय क्या हुआ और अब क्या हो रहा है. With that said, I will take you to the charts that we discussed in that particular video, and that can form a very good basis of what we're seeing that can happen in the coming period. तो ये देखने के हिसाब से हम आपको चार्ट पे लेके जाएंगे और चार्ट पे ले जाके मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा कि मैंने तब जो सोचा था और अब क्या हो रहा है, तो उससे हमें एक रुझान आएगा कि हम किस दिशा में गए और वो हमें रुझान देगा कि आगे हम क्या कर सकते हैं. So we're going to do that analysis and as the base, because that is going to be a beautiful analysis to tell you कि मार्केट में मैंने उस समय उस सिनेरियो पे क्या सोचा था, मार्केट ने क्या रिएक्शन दिया और हम आज कहाँ पे हैं और वो रिएक्शन का मापदंड लेके हम आगे क्या कर सकते हैं. The caveat is I don't expect that the Indian markets will behave as badly as the US markets because this is a very US specific news and it affects some sectors in India but doesn't affect everything. And when disruption happens in a particular market, the other markets will gain favor because India has its own story. They say the GDP is not going to be affected more than 0.05%. 0.5% with whatever's happening in the globe, with in context to what the US is doing with its tariffs. So with that said, I think we're in a good space and we could be doing better than the US markets in the short term. So let's go on the charts and see what's in store for us, because that will give us the real perspective. I'm going to take you to the charts. This could be a long video, but bear with me. Very fruitful analysis and should help you. So let's do this. This is what is the sectors that we discussed last time, and I'll go one by one and we'll see what happens, what happened in that particular video. And this was, to start with, this was the first chart that I saw on that particular video, and see how beautifully I predicted the move. I'm starting in an optimistic note, but I went wrong on that video in a number of charts, but this is the one that I really went right with. And look, beautifully, we have gone the distance and taken a beautiful 400-point rise in the 3 weeks. That's a massive rise in the CPSE index, and we've seen that 400-point rise. I predicted this move and did happen, because that's what the charts told me, and my reading came out really well as far as this particular sector went, but it didn't happen all the time. So I'm starting on a positive note, because that makes me feel happy and gives you some confidence. But trust me, I went wrong too. So as we go forward, we will see what went wrong, what went right. So looking at this perspective, CPSE, we're doing well. As far as what we're seeing on the chart, I'm going to start my fair value index, fair value gap indicator if I have one here. And yeah, I do have it. And we have hit the resistance point. We're backing down lower. We're in a fair value gap. I don't see anything wrong with this. We can spend some time here on the weekly. Let's go to the daily and see what the daily is offering us. Again, here we are in a fair value gap with a little resistance on the top. We can see a reversal from here and we can go higher, is my read. We can probably expect some kind of a bounce. Even if we break down, we're not breaking down. We're in a sideways move. We're actually in a good move right now. So if you see, we have this trajectory, which tells you that we have higher highs and higher lows. That's not bad at all. Let me change the color. This is a good move. We are bullish at this point of time on this sector. Now let's go sector by sector and see what we discussed at that point of time and what happened. So the next one that I discussed was media. I went totally wrong on this one. We were at this point, this was the 17th of March, this was the weekend. And what we saw that on that particular next day, which was Monday, we stayed somewhere in the range. And on Tuesday, immediately, we took a sharp upside. So the potential downside move got totally negated. We moved higher. And at that point of time, this would have been my first resistance point. These were the two resistance points that I had marked. And we did move up into this resistance point first. And then we crossed that resistance and we took this particular move. Since then, we've been facing some rejection from there. But again, we're in a sideways move. And again, let us look at the trajectory. We are with higher highs and higher lows at this point of time. We are now getting into a little bit of a sideways action. So yeah, we could remain sideways for this. This is as far as the media is concerned. Let's go to IT and see where the IT went. And yeah, on IT also, I turned up really well. If you see, this was the candle on the, let's go to the weekly. Let's see what the weekly gave us. So this was where we were on in the month of March. This is where this was the candle that I saw, and I was expecting the market to move down immediately, but we saw some kind of a bounce in the preceding two next weeks. And now look how beautifully we are coming down. And as far as the IT is concerned, we are looking at going down to 31,453. Now this is a beautiful read. We are seeing what I expected in on the cusp of that week, closing the 16th of March. I expected it to fall, and we did take a little bit of a reversal back to gather some liquidity on top here near this fair value gap, or maybe on the lower time frame. You'll see some liquidity grab happening at this particular level, and then we came down, and we have now broken that threshold of 34,164, which I expected was the first target. So we got our first target from 36,094 to 34,164, and now we are heading lower to 31,453. What do we see here? Now again, we are in some kind of a fair value gap here, but I don't see this holding, and I expect the fall to continue. And my first targets would be now a breakdown to 32,550 and then 31,453. So this will definitely depend on what the Nasdaq does in the US. But this is what I see. I still see that we could follow up with a breakdown. We could take a little reversal up to grab some liquidity and then fall back lower. This is what the IT is looking like. Let us look at the reality index. And yeah, we were again 17th of March. Let's go back to the weekly here once again. And what are we seeing here? We are seeing that we were this is where I thought we would go lower, but in the last week we went higher. And looking at things, we are still sideways on this action. We have not done anything much, so the sideways action is persistent. Unless we break 784, we can remain buoyant, and we can see move back up somewhere from close to the current support. On the daily, I could see that support somewhere around 750, 784 actually, 785, 790, and we could be pottering around this level. So we're in a sideways action. We could go to the lower range somewhere around 800, and then probably back up again. So this is as far as the realty index is concerned. Now, do we really have a breakdown? No, we don't have a breakdown. What do we have? We have a sideways, we have a bullish to sideways action. So we went here. We are still at a higher low. We had a higher high. We are now looking at a higher low, and if we bounce back up, we could be heading higher. So this is my scenario as far as the realty index is concerned. Not too concerning, and I don't expect a breakdown here as such until we breach the 784 level. I am still okay, because even if it's 784, we are going to be sideways, and 800 to 784 is something that we can look at. Let's look at the auto again. Was not expecting a huge fall on the auto. So let's go to the weekly and see what happened. On the weekly, this was the 16th of March. I expected it to fall. No, we took a sharp turn up, beautiful move up, and we went right up to those levels where we were expecting these, resistance levels, and see how beautifully these resistances have played out. So fair value gaps really play out well on the higher time frames, and see how beautifully these acted as resistances, and we are back down. So this again is a sideways move. We might break down to 20,188 if at all. Until we breach 20,484, I'm not looking at anything major happening. I'm looking at this, sideways momentum to remain. Even if we go down to 20,188, we have a good level here, which is the weekly fair value gap, and we could see support again playing out well here. So I'm going to be bullish after I reach 20,188. Until then, I'm going to remain, the way I am. I don't want to expect anything lower at this point of time. 20,188 is a threshold that I can aim for. If I break 20,484 is what I see as far as the auto is concerned. Now let's go to the metals index and see what the metals index gave us. This was where we were on the 16th of March, right? 16th of March. So where were we? We were somewhere here. And these are the two thresholds that I was looking at, and see how beautifully we haven't crossed the threshold. We've remained sideways. We went up higher. We faced resistance on this bearish fair value gap. We've come lower, and now we are below this 8549 level, and we could be heading lower to 8,062. In my thought process, this could be something that could lead us down to 8,062 in the short run. Let's go to the daily and see if this can really happen. Well, we are at the bottom of this fair value area, which was created by the swift move out somewhere around here. Yeah, but we've broken down pretty heavily, and I expect the metals to give me a break below this level of 8440, and we could go down 400 points lower. Metals, I am a little bearish as far as my moves go for this particular period. So metals is bearish for me going for the next week. Let's go to pharma and see what the pharma index is showing us. On the weekly, what did I see coming? On the weekly, there's not a huge move that I saw when I was at the 16th of March. I expected the prices to come down. Tag 19,964. I had given you these two thresholds that if we cross 20,594, it could go to 21,589. And that's how beautifully we went up. And see, from there itself, we've seen this breakdown. We come back to where we entered. And now, again, we went lower. below this level of 2172, where we've swept some liquidity, beautifully swept some liquidity, and then we are going back up again. Pharma is again sideways for me, and this is the range that we are looking at between 20,172 and 21,589. The structure hasn't been damaged. We're doing okay. Let's assess our trajectories. So what do we see? Are we seeing higher highs? Yes, we're seeing this trajectory. We went higher, we took a dip down, we went higher again, and we are now tracking back into this value area, and probably this is the range that I'm looking at. So I'm looking at us rising back up, and consolidation. We could peter somewhere around here if the market is weak, but until we break down 19,678 is a possibility. If we break 20,172, if we break this level down, we could go down to 19,160, was 19,678, but this is exactly where we took support, like expected, and we moved higher. Once we moved higher, we are seeing some kind of a move high, and then we're way back down. We're in a sideways range here, and we could remain sideways between 19,678 and 21,589 on the broader side, and on the narrower micro view, we could be above 20,172, and somewhere between 21,000 is what I'm looking at. Not a major range, but yeah, we are not bearish on this one too. Let's look at commodities, and what did I see? On commodities, I was very, very bearish. I was looking at the bearish side of things, but I was aware that we could move up higher also. And if you see, this is the weekly chart. This is where I was when I analyzed the video. I'll put the video description on the right-hand corner here for you to look at that video if you want a perspective. It'll also be at the end of this particular video. That's something that you can look at. I'm going to, direct you to that video if you want to see the analysis and, then relate it to what is happening here. But the markings on the chart tell you what I was looking at that point of time. And this is what I saw. I was expecting the market to move down to 7606 or to climb up to 8324 after my initial support at 8157. 8157 was the immediate resistance, the first level that I wanted to see on the upside. And that's what happened. We'll go to the daily to see what it was. This is where I analyzed it. We moved higher. This was our first level that we went to. This was the second level that we went to. And we went right up to this particular fair value gap. And this is where we found our resistance and we broke down, and this is where we are. So essentially, this is a very good index to trade in right now. What we're seeing is that we've seen a sharp move up. We saw a little bit of a way down. We went up again. We are returning back up here again, and we're seeing a higher low. Now, if we can see some kind of a bounce out of this fair value gap and go higher, in my mind, we are going to cross this threshold of 8584, and this seems very bullish to me for a change. So if we manage to take a reversal from here, we could be heading to 8597 higher ground. This is a very bullish move as far as this is concerned. Now, we have gone sideways in the last week, daily time frame, but if you look at a little broader perspective, we are higher highs and higher lows at this point in time. Unless we breach this level of 7894, we should remain bullish. That's what the structure reading tells you. Unless we breach 7910, we should remain bullish is what is the reading that I'm getting from my charts. Good. Commodities, positive. Positive to sideways. No negatives in the commodities also. Let's look at consumption. Again, consumption, where were we on the weekend? We were somewhere here on the 16th of March. And these are the two trajectories that I saw coming. So if I could draw a line here, I could see a drop down but this was a trajectory I thought it would give me. I thought if we take a resistance at this level here, we would come down, and this is exactly what is happening. As you see, we've gone up, tagged this 10,600, nearly tagged 10,930, and now we're looking at some kind of a breakdown. Now, there are two things that can happen. I can change the trajectories here. I can still maintain these two trajectories, but the only thing is I can, expect this trajectory to behave differently. We will change the trajectories right now. So we will look at this as something that can break down and give me this level. And as far as the red trajectory is concerned, I could see this breaking down and giving me these levels. Whereas when the blue trajectory comes into force, I could see some kind of reversal back up and taking me higher to 11,535. These are the three trajectories that I see on the consumptions. And I'm bullish on this because if you go on the daily, it breaks down very, very beautifully. We are in some resistance areas. That's the reason we are seeing some sideways action. But if you see where we are coming from, we have taken a beautiful move higher. We've taken a higher low and we are moving higher. And in my thought process, this is a move that we can get. So this trajectory, that is something that I'm showing you, is something that is very, very possible in consumption. We should look at it, and all stocks in consumption, the moment we clear 10,930 and sustain above that, we will get 11,535. Mark my words, above 10,930, we see a rally in consumptions up to 11,535. I'm seeing, I remember seeing Marico, the chart of Marico, and it's looking bullish to me. It's part of this particular sector. I like this sector for the coming period. Let's go to the next one. Let's look at energy and see what the energy index gave us. Go to the weekly and see what I was expecting. So where were we? We on the 16th of March. Yeah, this is where we were. I expected a move down. We did not. We moved higher, in fact, and we went higher. We did not move down as per my expectation. And yeah, we did. I totally went wrong as far as this is concerned. Let's do a final new analysis now. We are seeing a higher high and a higher low formation. So let me just draw it out for you on the weekly. Better still, let's draw it on the daily. We are in a fair value gap right now. We haven't reached the resistance on the top. So I expect this resistance to be tagged, which is my next destination. If I see support here out of this fresh fair value gap that we created, we're at the bottom of it right now. If we see support here, we could probably rise up and take this trajectory. So as long as I am above this level of 32,199, which I am at this point in time, I'm bullish and can be heading lower. The moment I break down 32,199, I'm looking at 30,893 and 20,944 as my directions on the way down. This is all that I want to do with this analysis. Look at levels and look at where they have, what levels have sustained, and then plot my chart and my destination based on that particular move that we get on the price. So I'm not making any predictions here. I'm trying to identify levels, and then I'm trying to build a roadmap that the direction is given to me when it breaks a level, and the targets are given to me by the liquidity that is on the charts in the subsequent areas, and that's how I create my destinations. So this was the CNX Energy now in the mid caps. Two trajectories that we thought would come, and see how beautifully we got those two trajectories. We did the trajectory on that way up, basically. So this was where I was, 16th of March. We did not go down, we broke up. These are the three levels that I mentioned in that period. If you see my old video, these were the three things that I was expecting. Where were we? We were somewhere around here, right? 12th of March, we were somewhere around here. I was expecting either a breakdown or a move up to these levels, and we got those levels so beautifully in a very short time. Again, the trajectories that we're seeing as far as our high low combination goes, we went higher and we are now tracking lower. So we're still on a a higher low after hitting a higher high. So we are bullish as long as we don't breach 48,409 or whatever the level is. Let me just draw this level. This is where we hit this was the swing low. And if we are above 47,944, we're doing okay. We're seeing some kind of a support at these two fair value gaps, and this looks bullish to me. So what is going to be my next target? My next target, we've already given a huge move into this particular fair value gap, which is not something that I'm going to be bullish about. Yeah, but we have this to contend with. This is giving us some kind of a resistance. If we break this level, we move higher and we go to 54,888. So I'm going to mark that for you. This is something that I'm looking at. But when do I get my really nice moves is when I cross this threshold. which is the line that I want to breach. The moment I breach 52,497, I will be very bullish and expect 5499 in a quick time. And as far as the current scheme of things go, we are on a high pattern. But if you see the sideways part of things, we could come down lower. If I breach uh, on the daily, if I breach this particular level, I expect for this particular level to come, which is 49,800. Reach 49,900, I go down to 47,904. So this is an important level to mark. We breach this level here, we go lower. We breach this level here. My first target is this level, and then subsequently, this is going to be my next target. So this is giving you the roadmap as far as the Phoenix mid caps are concerned. We did break down lower, but I am in a sideways move right now, and I cannot draw my volume profile here until I get to the index, which is mid cap CP index, and I could then draw a sideways move and find my value area and give you some readings there. But that is not something that I'm going to do right now with this video, because I'm going to cover up all the sectors that we have. And this is as far as what my prediction was in CNX Infra. There were two things that I expected. We were somewhere here. If we moved higher, these were the levels that I was looking at. And see how beautifully we've tagged those levels. And we are on way to 8643. So if you followed my cue above 8062, we were expecting 8488, and that's what we got. Beautiful move. In the very week itself, we got right to the highs, and we took some kind of a resistance again, close to that fair value gap area that we had here at this particular threshold, and this is what we've got. Bullish on this one. Let's go to the daily and see our RI high-low profile. This is the higher high, higher lows, and we are hitting a higher low once again. As long as we maintain our highs above this level of 8062, we should remain bullish and aim for 8643, which is our first target, and then see what subsequently we get after that. This is as far as the infra is concerned. Let's look at MNC. This is an interesting read on the MNC on the weeklies, where I analyzed the charts last time. I was expecting a breakdown from here, March 17th, March 16th actually, but we went higher. We went into this fair value gap, which was existing. I was not expecting this rise, but we did get it. We've gotten into this area and we found some kind of a resistance here. My next target on the way down first is going to be this level, which is going to be my first target on the way down on Monday. And then if we move lower, these are the targets that we can talk about in the subsequent period. This is the targets that we can talk about on the sideways journey back down. So 24,899 is something that we could get in the short run as far as the MNCs are concerned. And then we could see, some kind of a formation here. I don't see a very bearish move here until we remain above 24,899 or 24,900. I'm okay and still expecting some sideways rotation here, not something that is tradable, but yeah, expect that it could move down, and that's the expectation. Let's go to the next one, which is the Bank Nifty, and see how beautifully the Bank Nifty has moved. We were on the weekly at that point in time. Again, I was not bullish. So let me look at this weekly. I was somewhere here and I was expecting a breakdown in the next week. We didn't get a breakdown. We opened higher, moved up. And the moment we moved up higher, it was a no-brainer, because this was the first fair value gap that we had on the higher side and exactly where we tracked up to. This was a move that we could have predicted in the last instance. I was pessimistic. I was wrong. I should have given you this cue. But yeah, the fair value gaps gave you the cue. This was the next resistance, exactly where we've gone right now, as we are facing resistance here. So until we breach this particular resistance, we are in for some kind of a rotation in this area. This could be our next destination on the way up. If we cannot sustain 515, 827, we fall back and we go down to 48, 878. Not exactly. Let's go on the daily and see what the daily has in store. We've got a lot of bullish action here, but the area to watch is this particular swing high that we have here, right? As long as we are above this level, we don't need to worry. So we should remain sideways within this area, which was the swing high, which will act as support, which is the breakout level. We've taken support once, we've gone up, we've taken some resistance at 51,827, so we are sideways. Until we break 50,672, we don't aim for shorts. We aim for shorts once we breach that, and the next level to look at is this one, which is the 48,878. The moment we go below 50672, aim for 48. This is the Nifty spot chart. So 48,878 on the spot chart, below 50,670 is something that we can get. We could get some reversals from here too, but if we go below this, we go sideways, and then on the sideways trajectory, I expect this to come, and we could then go down to 47 to 45 too. So once we breach this level, these two targets open up on the lower end. First target 48,878, and then lower to 47,245. And from there on, we could look at these targets on the downside. Let's not be pessimistic. Let's be optimistic. The first target that we have is we remain sideways between 50,672, 51,827, break out of 51,827. We go higher and we try to get access to that 50,753 level. These are the two scenarios that we have on the Bank Nifty. Private banks, which is nothing else but the Fin Nifty. What do we have here? On the weekly, again, I was expecting a breakdown. My mindset was really not in place when I did this video as far as few sectors are concerned. But look how beautifully, the moment we went up, we went right up to tag the next fair value area on the weekly. So this is an understanding that you get. When you have a huge no resistance area to the next fair value gap, you can get a quick move into that fair value gap. And this is what we got, a beautiful move up of close to about 1,800 points. That's a massive move that we could have predicted in buying on Fin Nifty. I failed at doing that, and I should be doing better reading as far as my chart reading goes. This is the realization that I take from this particular reading that I gather now. Great. So what's in it for us going forward? Let's go to the daily and see what's happening. Yeah, so what's in it? We have a strong resistance area on the top here. This is resistance for us. I'm going to turn this into a resistance area. And these are the thresholds. If we go higher up to $26,300 levels. And then the next level is somewhere here. So we go higher. I'm just going to move these lines here. We already have some lines. So I'm going to move these up here. Yeah. And give you some idea as to when we are long, what are the areas that we need to target? These are the areas that we could target if we still persistently go higher. Remember, the banks and the private banks are really, really bullish. Seeing this move, we are really bullish, very, very bullish, right? And we could be just consolidating again to go higher. I will give you a beautiful readout on this one and see if this helps us. Given this huge move that we've had, I used the measured move calculation to give me my projections. And if you see a measured move working was when we moved from this particular swing low to this particular swing high. When we moved higher, the measured move was that it gave us a measured move from this particular swing up, and we did get to this level. Now, with the new move that we have moved up to this particular level and tagged this particular high. If I begin to measure this one is over. If I begin to use this as my new measure, I should expect my next swing high, wherever it happens, to lead me higher. So we're going to wait for the next swing low to happen, and then we move higher, is what the understanding is. So until we form the next swing low, we can't do any projections. But this first projection has come good. When we breach 25,888, we look at these higher levels. If we breach below this particular swing high, is the level that I'm concerned about. We breach 25,343 to the lower end. We then start to target the next swing low because we got into a sideways move, and we begin to target these two areas. So these two areas come into picture the moment we go below this level. Below 25,343, we aim lower. So this is going to be my red arrow, right? And if we go higher, my blue arrows will stand and take me right up to this level, which is going to be my blue arrow. So these are the two moves that we're going to see. Above 25,888, we go higher. Below 25,343, we go lower. And within the range of 25,343 and 25,888, we remain sideways. This is as far as the Nifty Bank this goes. Let's look at what we had in store as far as the reading on the Nifty went on the weekly. Last time we did this analysis. I'm going to remove these little tweaks that we had. I'm going to remove these drawings so we don't get confused. This is what I saw on the weekly on the 16th. I expected a move down, but on the higher side, I thought that we will get these two levels. There was this fair value gap that was there at this level here. There was a fair value gap here, a fair value gap here, which formed the basis of me giving you this level here, right? We got this and we moved higher. And what do we have now? We don't have a fair value gap. So the distance to the Nifty on the top remains this particular level, right? So this is a level that we can look for. 24,144. I remember in one of my videos, 24,144 was what I was expecting to get in the move. But when we reverse from here, we breached this particular swing high and we grabbed the liquidity and we've come lower. Now, how do I read this beautifully? I have some ways to read it. I use the 50% mark of my last swing high to swing low. And this is the 50% threshold where I expect the markets to give me a bounce back up. So this becomes an important level in my reading. This is the Nifty futures, not the spot chart, Nifty futures. We've hit below 23,016. Now let's go to the daily and use these levels to give us some reading. So I'm going to go down and use this level. We've just gone below 23,024. And what happens on Monday morning is important. We might break down a little bit, but we have a fair value gap here, and that could be the next support. So the trajectory could be that either we could fall and then take a trajectory up, and that could be my first resistance area. Once this resistance gets breached, I could then go higher and then aim for that 24,144, which is the weekly fair value gap. And I'm taking the proximal line to this weekly fair value gap as my target. 24,144 will come in time to come. Or if we break down, we go lower. Anything below this level, I'll mark this level for you, is going to be bearish for me. And then the two levels that I'm going to tag down are these two extended levels, which I'm going to extend my trajectory to. Important to read Nifty because that's where we will get our bread and butter trades. So this is an important level. We break below 22,811. We head higher, head lower. And what are the levels that we're looking at? This is something that I'm going to mark out for you. So this is the first level that I'm looking at, right, on the downside. This is something that I need to mark. This is going to be the first threshold below 22,811. This is going to be the second threshold, which is something that we could get, right? And this is the third threshold that we already have on our charts, 22,107. So these are the two trajectories that we have on the upper and the lower end. And if we want to remain sideways, which is possible, we could be remaining within these two areas here. And that could be our sideways moves. This could be the yellow trajectory that we normally look at when we look at Nifty and Bank Nifty. So the thresholds are above 23,024, we go bullish. Below 22,614, we go bearish. And we aim for 22,102. And at this threshold, if we see a bounce, we aim for 22,811. This is the sideways trajectory, the upper trajectory, and the lower trajectory. Trading is so simple if you can do all of this reading. So guys, this is the sector analysis of everything that I see on the Nifty. Now, did you see anything to fear about as far as the Indian markets are concerned? Most of the sectors are giving you a high-low, high-high formation and no reason to worry. The panic in the US markets is not for us. It is not for us to see. If you see this video and you do the sector analysis, do you find fear? Yes, there are a few sectors that you can go with that kind of fear. So yeah, Nifty, no. Bank Nifty, no. IT, yes. I'd say IT can go down, which is something that gets affected with what happens in the US because Most of the clients of the IT sector are in the US, and that's the sector that's going to get affected, right? Banking, no. Pharma, no. Textiles, to some extent, we've not done the study of the textile sector, so we can't say. Gems and jewelry, not very well represented on the bourses, but yeah, that's not a sector that's very active on the stock market. So yeah, no. Footwear, yes, it could be affected. And there's some electronics that get exported to US in a very big way. So Amber and a few other, you know, sectors that do electronics manufacturing and export to the US could get affected. You need to get stock specific, sector specific, stock specifics to then find out which are the stocks that are not going to do well. Exposure to the US market, exports, going to do bad. Rest are going to do okay. Nothing wrong with the Indian markets. In fact, the dollar coming down, crude cost going down is positive for India. Markets there in turmoil brings money to these kind of markets where the markets are not, getting affected. So people are very, very wise everywhere in the world. When they see turmoil in one area, they want to divert their assets to the other area. And, that's what you're going to get. So I'm not bearish on the Indian market. I am pretty okay with what's happening. We could be in for a sideways move at best because those markets are not helping us go higher. In fact, they could go higher because things going wrong there could help us here. I don't see the need for us to panic as far as the Indian markets are concerned. So if that fear mongering in the social media and the US news is overpowering your mind, trust me, I don't see a lot of problems with our markets until we really break down on the levels that we see on the chart. I will get really concerned when I see those levels get breached, which I've marked out on every sector that I've analyzed with you in this video. Guys, trust me, no panic. Stay the course. Stay invested. Don't need to disinvest and have unnecessary fears. The time to disinvest is when you see those levels that we see getting breached, and then we can head lower. So until we do that, stay invested. Be positive on the markets. There's nothing happening to us locally. I've done another video on the US markets. I'll pinpoint to that, and that's a totally different perspective. And you can just to get your perspective, if you want to see that video, I'm giving a link to you at the end of this video. Go have a look at it. And I'm also going to give you a link to where this analysis was led in this video from. So March 16th video is also going to be, as you see the video and you'll see that counter, and then you'll be able to assess where are we in terms of what we discussed 2 weeks back and where are we right now. We're at a much better stage we were 2 weeks back. Trust me, we're doing better than what we're doing 2 weeks back. We haven't fallen as much as everything else in the world has shaken up with. We are in a good space, and let's remain positive with our markets and not let the social media sentiments hurt us. We look at the charts, we see what we get, and we trade what we see. We don't trade what people make us feel and emote. We trade what we see. Until you get to a level breaks down, don't go short. Don't just get out of the market for no reason. That's the cue from this video. If you like it, give me a share, give me a like and a share. I love bringing these to you because not only does it help me bring it to you, I do my analysis live right in front of you. I don't analyze my charts before I come on live. So the analysis is absolutely pure. There's no bias in my mind when I bring this analysis to you. I see what I see on the chart right in front when I'm going live, and I do my analysis right then, because that's the best way. I don't have preconceived notions in my mind when I do this video. I actually just give you the perspective as I see it on the chart right then, because I want to analyze with being in the present, and that's what I do with this video. Thanks a lot, guys. If you're stuck to the end, you're heroes, right? You'll get the entire picture. Look forward to seeing you in the next one, and do comment, which I don't receive, but I keep on doing my stuff. I don't look at what reactions I get. I keep on doing my stuff because that's the process that I follow, and I'll keep doing it until I start getting appreciation that I think would give me more reasons to come to you more regularly. That's it for this video. Look forward to get in touch with you again, and we'll end this meeting here, and goodbye, and have a great trading week ahead.